Okay. All right. Well, we'll get this show on the road, get this circus moving forward here. Welcome, welcome everybody to the March meeting of the Seattle Robotics Society. Uh, let's see. I'm gonna. For those of you, if you don't have your microphones muted, please do that. I could do that for you, but it's much easier if you do it yourselves. But thank you very much. If you're actively sharing, obviously you can unmute your microphones and talk. Um, if you don't have your camera on and you're actually reasonably decent, and it wouldn't be illegal for us to see what you look like, please turn your camera on if possible. Um, I love to see faces. It's like, okay, I know you're out there. I see a name, a black screen maybe, and it's kind of nice to actually see names and people. Um, if you have questions, comments, links, whatever, post those in the chat. And that reminds me, I need to turn that on. And looks like, yeah, we got a couple of new folks. So when we get to a little bit further in here, I will just maybe ask them to just briefly introduce themselves. Let's find out who they are and how they got here. In the meantime, they can just kind of hang out for a sec. So post any kind of communication that you want to share with the group to the chat, and that will of course be posted uh, on our website after the meeting for everybody to see. And do be careful about sharing. Don't share anything proprietary or anything that would require editing these videos, because it's not much fun to do that, and I really don't like to do that. So we're going to follow this kind of general outline. It's not super strict, but we will kind of follow it in general. So I'll kind of step through all these things as we go. And we've got the tech ed topic video coming down there. That's a new item for our meeting. So I'll talk about that when we get closer to it. We have a Discord server now. Some people would say, yeah, it's about time, So, um, so anyway, we no longer do the IRC chat. That's pretty antiquated technology anyway, and so that has been retired. So if you go to the community link on our homepage, you'll find information about the Discord server and also the email server. So check those out. Let's see here. Our merch store is up and running. So we don't really have a whole lot to do with that other than we provide the graphics, but you can order probably just about anything you want with SRS logos and graphics imprinted on it. So check that out. And I think these things are pretty reasonably priced, and they'll just drop ship it to you. So don't have to go through us in any way, and we don't get in directly in the loop. If there are any interesting graphics that you might like to contribute to this, you can send them to me, and we can look them over and see if maybe we'd like to include them in the library of images that can be used. So appreciate any contributions in that area. The Build It with Arduino, from what I can tell, I checked it here just this week, and it looks like Donna's planning a Build It with Arduino meetup next Saturday from 1 to 3 Pacific time. And you can go to the meetup website there, and either look for Build It with Arduino with dashes between the words, or just grab that link or the QR code there. And that's an opportunity to join with a group of other folks that are doing things with Arduino processors. And so there's it's a 2-hour meeting that she runs, and the goal is sort of building robots that are compatible with contests that we run during Robothon. So join up with that if you like the Arduino processors, and we'll take it from there. There's some websites out there that have the Robot Events website at the top of here has I forgot to take that L and R out of there. Sorry about that. The Robot Events website, I think that's mostly VEX robotics competitions that are happening in various parts of the country. And those are actually pretty cool robots. They're not the big ones that the first FRC folks do, the high school and college students do, but they're more of a erector set type of robots that are just built using the VEX kits. And then the Sunoco Makerspace does weekly meetings. They're up in South Everett, so if you're a North Ender or you can get up there. They have a cool shop up there where they do their meetings, and it's a great makerspace. So they do all kinds of things. And Chaz Eiler runs that, and I hadn't checked to see if he's. Nope, don't see him online here. Oh, hey Blake. I will. It's actually I see some interesting faces I haven't seen for a while on here, so I will give you guys an opportunity to kind of introduce yourselves and share a little bit about what brought you here. So, open topic discussions. That's what we're going to have an open discussion today on. I'll share the slide a little bit later, but these are kinds of things that sometimes when we don't have a formal presenter, I'll just kind of walk us through these things. And I'm not an expert on any of these topics, but it's an opportunity for us to just kind of open it up and let whatever draw on your knowledge and experience in any of these areas, and a great opportunity to just kind of talk about things. So think of it as just like a big round circle, bunch of us sitting around in a circle and just chatting about any particular topic. So we're going to do that today, and we're going to do today's topic is going to be why have robots in your lives, and or maybe that should say why have robots in your life. That's probably the way that should grammatically. That's probably the way that should state that. I guess I'll fix that. Why have robots in your life? So, and then next month, Lloyd Moore is going to talk about C++ static analysis tools, free tools that are available. And so that'll be coming. And I'm open to suggestions for May and beyond. So anybody that's interested in presenting on something, let me know.
Hey, Steve, can I ask you a quick question about that
Yeah.
page?
Yes, James.
Where is that page anywhere on the website? And if it's not, can you please put it on the website? Because I've been trying to tell people, like, this is what the talk is going to be about. And then, like, I can't find the list of, like, what the talk is going to be. It says that there's going to be a meeting, but not what the topic of the meeting.
Okay. So everybody can see the front page of the website here?
No, we're still seeing the presentation plan.
Okay, maybe probably just take you a sec to. I think it should be. Let's see. Share this tab. Oh, share this tab instead. Okay, let's try that.
Got it. See it now.
Okay. So now you're seeing the front page. So when you hit up here with meetings, and when you punch calendar, and I'll show you in a sec here what this looks like. But what calendar will do is here's March, April. This will shoot out about 6 months out. May. So what'll happen is I go into Google Calendar for a SRS Google Calendar, and I load in whatever's coming, and then the website picks that up and puts it here. So this will show you about 6 months out anything that I put in that calendar. So if you look at this and you go through this list and it just says things like, hey, this slot is available, it's because I haven't loaded it in there yet. And I don't actually have any presentations beyond next month anyway. So when you punch that calendar at the top under meetings.
Oh, I see.
And that will give you, so that gives you what's coming further out than just next month, because as you pointed out when you when you're on the homepage, what you'll see down here, of course, is today's, and there's not and nothing more. There's nothing down here
Oh,
beyond
but it
that.
does say now, it does say this month presentation will be an open discussion. I could swear that wasn't there last night when I was looking, but that's probably just, did you just change that on me or am I going blind?
I think you're going blind.
Oh,
All right. Well,
I think it's weirder than that because I have had the homepage open, right? So when I
Mm-hmm.
got to it this morning, I noticed that it still said Mechandize. And so I refreshed the page and it
Yeah,
still said Mechandize. I had to change the URL to get it to forget it. And when I went back to the page, then it said merchandise. So it
merchandise.
could
Yeah,
very well be that the old page is buffered.
yeah. I'm thinking
oh,
so because
I was using a different PC last night when I was looking, and I wonder if maybe it's buffered on that one and not on this one. In any
yeah.
case, you're doing your deal. You're putting it up there. We just have to do a better job
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. Doug pointed out that I had misspelled merchandise here in merchandise store, and I fixed that pretty quickly. I think by either by right away or by the next day, I had that fixed. But I have noticed that you need to flush your cache on your browser from time to time because otherwise you'll see stupid things like that happening where stuff's been fixed, but it doesn't appear to be fixed, but it has been fixed. So
So I can only buy merchandise. I can't buy merchandise.
no, well, it was mechandise, so
Oh,
that.
I wanted merchandise. That
I
sounds great.
know, I know. Yeah, that's a kind of a new, yeah, that's a new product that we're going to start
All
selling out of
right.
our
Thanks, Steve.
store there. Yeah,
You're the
you're
man.
you're very welcome. Um, okay, no, we're not going to share that one. Let's see here. Okay, so share. So now I'm going to go back. All right, so you should be back to the presentation plan page there, I think. Let me get this here. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So, so anyway, if somebody would like to slide into the May slot, I would be loving that. So, a little bit later on in the facilitated discussion today. Well, I guess grammatically that could be said. Why have robots in our lives? Why have a robot in your life? I guess it would be like why have a robot in your life? Why have robots in your? I don't know. That's a kind of a grammatically interesting, ambiguous type of a title. I guess that works though. But anyway, we're going to have a discussion. This is actually a slideshow. I updated it, by the way, but this is a slideshow. If you went back and looked at the history of our presentations, you would actually find this from a long time ago, way back before we started recording these meetings. And so I said, well, that was kind of an interesting thing at the time. And it was kind of funny going in and clicking on the links and kind of seeing what still worked and what didn't. And it was like, wow, there's a lot of things that have changed since we originally did this. So it's probably going to, even if you remember anything about this the original presentation, this is not going to be anything like that. So there's been so many changes in this technology. So anyway, that'll be coming up after our break. Robothon committee. I'm going to go ahead and let Lloyd chime in with any updates here regarding Robothon and all that.
Yeah, so we're still planning the August 22nd event. This will be at Punk Rock Flea Market. This is downtown Seattle. Oh, nice picture. Thank you, Steve.
Yep.
If you happen to look the other way from this, it's right near Ada Books, if you know where that's at. So, yeah, we'll go for there. We are. Oh, and if you could go back one slide, Steve, I'll walk down. Yep, thank you. So we're going to do the 2 build challenges. This is going to be an indoor only event. We're downtown Seattle, so we're not going to run outdoor events and try to do that. So build challenges 1 and 2, line maze, line following, mini sumo, only the autonomous division. We'll have the pop cam challenge. This event will be, and Steve, we should probably add this to the slide. This will be in coordination with WAR. So if folks remember what we did for our Robothon prior to COVID down at the Seattle Center, where we had WAR on one side and us on the other, we're going to basically try that again. So we'll have WAR on one side, us on the other. WAR will be there all day. We will also have Donna is going to do another presentation on 3 kilogram sumo during lunch.
Cool.
So, yep, we're still kind of planning it and so forth, and we'll roll more information out. It is up on the Robothon website. Let me check if Donna's got registration up yet. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Let's see.
You've been calling it downtown Seattle, but it's actually on Capitol Hill, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's downtown Seattle.
I wouldn't
sort of
that downtown.
I mean, all right. Technically, you're correct, Doug. It's not downtown Seattle. It's near downtown Seattle.
I remember that that grocery store, and that's like a neighborhood grocery store.
That's correct. Yes. So the Robothon page does have the sign-up sheet up. If you're going to compete, please register your bot ahead of time so we kind of know what to run. And if nobody signs up for something, we won't bother hauling the competition paraphernalia.
Yeah.
Down because this is going to be a little more work for us because we got to put things in the car and take them into Capitol Hill. So if we don't need to do that, that'd be great. But if somebody's gonna sign up, we'll bring it.
And you should mention that WAR is Western Allied Robotics.
Yes.
We're not promoting war.
We're not promoting war. But it is combat robotics.
That's true.
And it is a little dangerous because it happens in a plexiglass arena, so you don't want to be in there with them. Okay, that's all I got to say.
All right, I got that's S2. Thank you. That's awesome. Maybe I should put that on the front page there. The check out the chat there. S2 found a merchandise graphic. Wow. So maybe I had that on my brain when I was typing in there or something like that. So it's
I think I also misspelled it. I missed the H, but it's fine.
It's fine too. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, it was a spelling error. I had no idea it was actually a real thing.
Everything is real today, Steve. We have AI, so everything is real.
Everything is real. That's right, and you can believe anything you see, hear, or smell, taste, or touch. Right. Right. Okay. Any questions about? I know we got some new people on here. And, if there's any, you get a lot of information about Robothon stuff from the Robothon website. So robothon.org. There are details of the contests, is what they are, the rules, all of that. There's pictures of if they've got special arenas or special tracks or whatever. So check that out. Some of the I should say line following and mini sumo are probably kind of some of the better ones for beginners because the robots are relatively simple. Depending on the competitors, though, those could be challenging competitions, but it's relatively easy to make robots like that. And and then we will be and we're, let's see, the 3 kilogram. Did you say we're maybe going to have 3 kilogram, or we're going to be introducing it again?
So 3 kilogram. Donna's going to do a presentation on building 3 kilogram robots.
Okay. Yeah.
So folks know a little more context there. Donna's been leading up kind of an effort to revitalize the contest.
Yeah.
And essentially it's a catch-22, right? I mean, if you just throw the contest out there, nobody's going to show up, right? Because nobody has robots. So when you spin these contests up, you kind of have to do a little bit of bootstrapping to, let's get people to build robots. Now we have enough robots to do a contest. Now we have a contest, so people get excited about building robots for it, right?
It is a little
process.
Bit of that. Yeah,
and the 3 kilogram bots are fairly large, and it's not something you're just going to build in a weekend either. So I think Donna's been working on hers for about a year or so, maybe 2.
Yeah. There were a lot of a lot of them involved in past competitions, and I would love to see people just revitalize those guys, bring them back to
Mhm.
life, and bring them on, because the 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 competitions can be somewhat like the war competitions in terms of the aggressiveness of the robots, because when you get up to that size, the amount of power and agility that these robots can have, I mean, they can literally smack each other out of the ring and things like that. And you can't do that with mini sumo. There's just no way to get that much power into such a tiny package. But expand that up to 3 kilograms, and there's a lot you can do inside of that kind of an envelope. So yeah.
Yeah, we may
Okay.
have to buy fencing for that when it comes
Yeah.
by.
Yeah. There was a point
Containment could
where,
be an issue.
yeah, there was. I mean, when Bill Harrison was involved in these, those of you that have been around a long time remember him. He got super deep into this stuff, and his robots were absolutely, oh man, they were crazy. He made some of the most amazing machines, and they were, yeah, they would get, back up, get a running start at the competitor, and blast them out of the ring. So yeah, containment was a necessary addition. So let's see. So the monthly tech head topic. So this month we're going to talk about. I'm gonna show a video that's going to explain about I2C communication protocol, and the details of how that works. So I know that's, for some of you is like, okay, yeah, I know this stuff. And the intent of these is to just kind of provide a help to kind of introduce people that aren't maybe familiar with some of these topics and are interested in getting started with robots. I2C is something that you would tend to use that with more sophisticated sensory systems like a GPS or gyros or things like that. Because what you're going to find is your more complicated sensors will have a data stream essentially that they want to exchange with the Arduino. And I2C is a very common way for passing data back and forth between these kinds of sensors and the Arduino. So I hope you'll find it interesting. It's it's a pretty good video, I think. And so we'll be getting to that after we do our round the room. And always open to suggestions and ideas for future topics and videos. And if you find something interesting, an interesting video that you think, hey, this would be a great video. And I'm looking for is videos that are probably in the 10-ish, maybe 15-minute length. So if you're out there kind of looking at stuff and you find one that's kind of like, you think, hey, this would be a great one for this, send me the link and I'll check it out. Just some general reviews. We use the same Zoom link every month, so front page of the website has it. I don't change it unless I absolutely have to, and we will try to do everything we can to not change it, so that you will, if you've got that bookmarked or something, that you will, won't have to worry about the link working or end up in some meeting all by yourself and wondering where everybody else is. Meetings will be recorded, posted to the website probably sometime this coming week. Let's see. The front page usually has the details. Like I say, check that calendar link for future stuff, just to see what's coming. Build It with Arduino will be next Saturday. Tech Ed topic, and then you can help me find presenters. And and then please, share stuff in the chat. All right, so I've blathered on enough here, so now it's your turn. You guys can blather. So, opportunity to, if you've got something to share, I would love to have some of you new guys, if you would just introduce yourself briefly, tell us who you are, and what you're looking for. What brought you to our meeting, and I would love to get to know you a little better. So, if anybody is ready to jump onto that. I'm seeing most of you guys I know, but I'm seeing a few. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. Yeah. So hello everyone. Yeah, my name is S2. S2, but spelled
Yeah.
ESTU. Yeah. So, I guess a little bit about myself. I love robots. I live robots. I finally was able to get a job in robotics. I'm a robotics engineer now. I studied electrical engineering and I have a technical degree in robotics. So
Oh,
I love
nice.
them, and and I really like robotics competitions. I did that a lot in school, and it's been a while since I'm able to participate in any of that. I'm also new to Seattle. I'm in Capitol Hill. Uh, so yeah, I'm looking for new people, like-minded folks that like robots, and that's why I joined here.
Who? Just out of curiosity, so who do you work for? What's the
Boeing.
company? Boeing. So you're doing robotics for Boeing. Wow. Wow. Impressive. Um, so is it this industrial, you know, yeah, I mean, like Renton, Everett, where do they put you?
Hey,
Or
I'm
you are
I'm down here in Tukwila. I'm
Tukwila?
actually
Oh,
I'm
okay.
actually I'm actually at work right now.
Ah,
I got to cover a shift today, Saturday. Not
ah,
not
ah.
usual schedule, but yeah. So I work with industrial robotics.
Okay.
I got really lucky. It's a really good team. We do like research for manufacturing processes. So
Hmm.
a lot of robot arms. I'm literally right now surrounded by a couple of FANUCs.
Okay.
But so mostly I do electrical design for electrical industrial cabinets and programming PLC, that kind of thing.
Okay. Awesome. It's exciting to hear people getting robot training from school and then actually being able to get jobs in that field, because we get people asking us about that all the time. So, yeah. Anybody got any other questions for Esu?
Welcome.
Yeah. Well, welcome. Yeah, I hope this is your first meeting, right?
Yeah, it's my first meeting.
Yeah.
I do have a question. I was wondering, where did you go to school?
A bachelor's I did at Oregon State University.
Ah, okay. Terrific.
Yeah.
Hmm. Cool. All right. Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Welcome. Um, let's see. I saw who was the other? No, I saw a fellow I haven't seen for quite a while now. I've had a little bit of a correspondence with him on, I think it was either LinkedIn or Facebook. Blake. So
There we go.
he came
Yeah,
to.
if I can remember how this thing works. I haven't used Zoom in
Yeah,
ages.
yeah. Blake came to meetings with me years ago when we were meeting at Renton Technical College. So yeah, you were just a kind of a skinny little kid back in those days. I'm sure you're not that
What what
anymore.
what was I, 14?
Something like that. Yeah, pretty young. So
And
yeah,
I'm still tinkering with this one. So
tinkering with that one. Oh yeah, that was from um oh look, talk on it. Just
so this is
Carol. Yeah.
a newer gen of the one that Carol had actually given me. I went out
Okay.
and I started 3D printing a lot of the frame rails, but
Ah,
how I've been R&Ding the suspension has been on an actual full-blown RC car instead.
okay. Okay.
So been
Mm-hmm.
toying with that.
Yeah. Well, that's always fun. Yeah, that's a great size to play with. So this is
1/10 scale? Yeah,
yeah. And I
weighs
bet
a
that
lot.
thing it weighs a lot and probably moves like crazy, too. Sure they got a lot of
Yeah,
power
it's
and
got a
speed on the good.
3200 kV motor, so it moves.
Hmm. Cool. Yeah. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's real
Let's
nice to see
see.
some younger people in here, go along with
Yeah.
all us old folks.
Yeah. Well, now another one person I haven't seen before is Robert Golden, and I would love to hear from you. Yeah, see, now I caught him off guard. See, he has camera off, so I couldn't tell if he was sitting in front of his computer. Hey, yeah, hi, Robert. Well, I'm not. We're not hearing you. wonder if your connection is a little iffy. Yeah, we're not getting any audio from you, unfortunately.
Hello?
There we go. Yeah, now we're hearing you.
Hello? Oh, okay. I'm new to this.
Yeah.
I'm an old fart myself, but I've been into this stuff for a long, long time, kind of keeping my tabs on it while chasing pennies.
Okay.
So I recently got a couple of 3D printers. Well, my first 3D printer was the ANET A8. I bricked that one, but I've been getting into the Arduino and stuff like that. After I got this printer, I asked my kids that were in high school and junior high, I'm like, okay, now I got a 3D printer. What am I going to make? So they chewed on that for a little while. One day, the oldest one comes back and he says, I want a robot. So he infected me with that. And now I've got a Tronxy X5SA 400, and I picked up Anycubic Chiron, and that's what I'm using to build parts for this InMove robot. And I'm just about getting into wiring up the electronics with the ramps and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm into this.
You got?
I'm afflicted.
Is there anything you can? Is there anything you can show us? Show us with your camera there.
I'm chasing pennies right now still because that's just the way it is. But anyway, I just learned about this. The closest thing I know of was back east. They had something called every middle of January, and Lebanon, Pennsylvania, they have this thing called Cabin Fever Expo. I've never seen anything like this anywhere else. And that's where a bunch of old people get together with projects they've been working on for a long time. There's live steam trains and stuff that you ratable size.
Okay.
And people make stuff. That's what I liked about it. So anyway, I'm happy to have seen this. And once the regular live meetings start happening, we'll attend some. And considering the Robothon, but we'll see if I'm able to yet. Anyway, nice to meet everybody, and thanks for having this.
Yeah, you're very welcome, and we're welcome. Glad you could join us. Okay, yeah. So I just pasted a link to the Cabin Fever Expo in the chat there, and was just looking at their website.
Is it interesting?
Oh man, that looks like a fun. Whew. Yeah.
I went there for about 10 years in a row. So anyway, it's awesome. Anyway, everybody have a great one. I'm going to continue listening while I work. Okay.
All right. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Anybody else got I see projects behind people and different things there. I know. How's your car doing, Craig? I was looking at you. Still got you like that? You like having that car for the background? How's it? How you coming on that?
The car in the background is my original that was based on a Raspberry Pi, and I've since built a new one based on a Arduino Chow ESP32 S3. I just yanked the camera out of it, but I chose the S3 because the S3 Sense because it has the SD card built into it, and in order to make these slot cars competitive, I need a lot of data. So with the ESP32, I also put in a 9-axis IMU. I forget which one right at the moment, but and I thought, you can see even in this car that's in my background, the little white part right above the guide. That's an AS5600 angle sensor. So it senses the angle of the guide. And I was hoping that on the newest car, just the angle guide and the IMU would be the only two sensors that I need. But I really need to measure and control speed to have a successful slot car. And measuring speed with an IMU alone is pretty impractical. So I've
Mm,
bought another sensor, which is a what do they call it? It's a near. It's essentially a ground sensor. It's the same type of sensor that you use in a mouse, essentially that
mm,
measures. I can use it to measure speed. I have to
okay.
grab it, see what it says.
Yeah, go ahead.
It is a near optical flow sensor. So with that, my perception is that I'll be able to measure speed using that, and I haven't added it to the car yet. So that's my next step.
Can you show it to us? The sensor?
The car or the sensor?
The sensor, yeah.
It's in my package.
Oh, you haven't even unpackaged it yet? Oh
Yeah,
man.
I haven't even unpackaged it yet.
Yeah.
So Craig, I used to race slot cars when I was a kid. This is not a slot car, is it? You don't have a pin in a slot that
Yeah, it's an autonomous slot car.
Oh,
See if I can. I don't know how to. Maybe I can share. I've got a slot car track in the house that it's pretty impressive too. I've got it on pulley system, so I raise it up out of the way when I'm not
Oh my
using
goodness.
it.
Oh, no, we would love to see that.
Hey, Craig, can I ask for a little bit of clarification on that? Here, I'll turn on the video so you can see my ugly mug. So I'm curious. You said it's an autonomous slot car, so it does have a pin and it's following the track, and that is a certain level of autonomy. I love mechanical computing as an idea, right? So the car is mechanically computing its direction as the pin is moved by the slot, which then turns the wheels, which causes it to go forward. But I'm assuming with all of that electronics that there's something else going on. Is it perhaps that the car is computing the speed so that it doesn't crash into the car in front of it on the slot, or what's the
Yeah,
autonomous part of that?
exactly. With an autonomous slot car, the only thing you need to control is speed.
Nice.
So it sounds really simple, but if you go
But
too
it's not.
fast, it's not simple at all. The first version, the one that's in my background, it was based on a Raspberry Pi 02W, and it has a time of flight sensor in the back. In fact, maybe I can see if still have.
No, wait a minute. It's got a time of flight sensor in the back. Why not in the front?
I'll show you here. I'll share my screen and show you without the body on.
Oh yeah.
So what I like about this is the idea of like breaking up the problems. Like if you're going to get into building autonomous cars, just worry about maintaining the correct speed and spacing, and looking for obstacles first, and don't worry about the steering. Let the slot take care of that. And then
Yeah.
later on, do it the other way around, where you have some mechanical bumper in front of the car that keeps it from slamming into things, and learn how to steer from left to right better, and then put the two together. But people get screwed up by working on multiple things at the same time. Does that make sense?
Well,
Yeah.
it does. And initially, I thought this was going to be a relatively simple project because you only have to control one parameter. You only have to control speed. But in order to do so, you have to be able to predict where you're going to be. In order to do so successfully, you have to be able to predict where you're going to be on the track next. And so with this car here, I was never able to obtain full autonomy. What I did with this one is so here's the time of flight sensor, and where this came in real handy was determining the track is a figure 8 configuration, and it's got an overpass on it. And so every time I went under the overpass, that triggered the time of flight sensor. And so that gave me a starting point on the track. Every time I hit that point, I knew exactly where I was.
And then you could put in like, I've moved this far, I'm about to come up on a big turn, I need to slow down, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
that's pretty much the way this car operated was I just I divided the track into sections based upon how much time I thought it was going to take to travel that section, and then put in a specific duty cycle. I used duty cycle to control the speed. Put in a specific duty cycle for that amount of time, for the amount of time that I thought I was going to be on that section of track. The angle sensor was really good for collecting data because that told me exactly when I was in a turn and when I was in a straight. Uh,
Gotcha.
but like I say, I've never really gained full autonomy with this car, though I did win a competition at Clover Park using this car. It was faster than any others. I did both acceleration and braking, used braking before I hit the most critical turns, and then
Well, now,
just
so I don't want to take up too much time here, but I'm really curious to know what went wrong. Like, why? What is it that causes you to not be able to tell? Because you should be able to tell exactly where you are based on, hey, I just got out of this turn, or I'm now seeing the start of this turn, and you should be able to keep a table or something like that in time. Like, okay, I just got out of that turn. I'm going to go for this amount of time at full speed before I start to decelerate, and so on and so forth.
so this car had a number of issues. One issue was that the reliability of the time of flight sensor using I squared C. For whatever reason,
Oh,
my Raspberry
Mm,
Pi, the time of flight sensor would just keep locking up and stop sending
mm.
any information to the Raspberry Pi. And the only remediation I had for that was to reboot the car. And
May-
so
maybe it's
the
because it was right over that high-powered DC motor that was sending out all kinds of electrical noise into the
Yeah,
wires.
it could very well be. I've probably got another picture in here showing an earlier version of the car. Actually, you could see it in, I don't know if I can get back to it now.
Nice
Uh,
paint job.
Yeah.
thanks. Here you go. There's an earlier version of the car with
Yeah,
all sorts of aluminum foil trying to, because I figured it was an EMF problem originally,
Hmm.
trying to solve that problem, but I came to the conclusion that it really wasn't an EMF problem. That no matter how much shielding I added, it didn't really make any difference.
I love the tinfoil hat version of the car. That's great.
I did buy some Faraday tape for the new version of the car, just in
Hmm.
case.
Hmm.
But after I reach success and full autonomy, I'll do a full presentation on the car and things that I've learned and show off the track. The track is quite interesting as well.
So Connor was asking why the motor is at a slight angle with the drive gear in that picture that you
That's
showed us
just
before.
that's just the way they build the chassis. In fact, let's see here. Yeah, I've got some pictures somewhere of just
Well,
the
Your
that picture that you were
background.
showing us first showed it really well. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, 20-degree angle or something. Seems
Hmm.
excessive.
Yeah, okay, so here we go. This one shows it even better.
Oh,
This is just
wow. Yeah.
this is what I start from. This is a chassis that we buy from a local slot car shop, and this is what you get. That's the way they build them.
So
Why
it
that's at an angle, I don't know.
so it's not a pin, it's a shoe. Uh, do you actually power the car from the slot?
Yes,
Ah, so this really is a slot car. It's just autonomous.
absolutely. Yeah. Uh,
It's what do you call it in a regular car? It's adaptive cruise control. No. No, it's not that. It's because it's actually based on memorization, so it's even different than that.
Hmm.
It's like route guidance or something.
Now,
Route cruise control.
your chassis has something interesting between the back wheels and the front wheels. There's some sort of an articulation.
Between the back wheels and the front wheels. So there is a bit of suspension here. You can see this bar here combines or connects I guess, the front part of the chassis to the rear part of the chassis. So it does allow for some movement between the two parts of the chassis. And I don't know why that is. I just using the stock parts for that.
Is that maybe just to adjust the wheelbase to the body?
I don't believe. I think it's to help keep the wheels on the track as it's
Huh.
crossing track sections but I don't know. I don't know.
You know what I also really like about this is you don't have to have a stupid LiPo battery.
Yeah.
I know a
Well,
couple of guys in the RC fire. And the
it,
question I always ask the RC guys is, how many fires have you had?
I've had zero.
In this car, the Raspberry Pi, right underneath the Raspberry Pi 02W is what is called a Pi sugar. And that is essentially a BMS there's my LiPo right there.
Oh,
And
okay.
what that does is keep the car powered up when it gets deslotted, when it derails. And I've even done a smaller version. That's another reason for choosing the ESP32S 3 cents. It has a battery management system built into it and a smaller LiPo on it. Let's get back to. I don't have a picture of the latest car with the chow on it. There's with everything but the chow. So the chow gets mounted here, and this is the IMU. There's a voltage regulator. So I take whatever track voltage. My track is 14 volts. The track that we use at the school is 12 volts. I feed that into the voltage regulator, and that converts it to 5 volts that I use for whether it's the Raspberry Pi or the Chow. And then this here is the motor driver. So it takes the PWM output from either the Chow or the Raspberry Pi and sends that to the motor. Oh, and then here you can see the little tiny magnet that I have mounted on top of the guide that feeds the AS5600 angle
That's your
sensor.
ankle sensor.
Yes. So this is the new car that I'm still working on. Got to add the near optical flow SPI breakout too.
So Stu was asking about why do you not power the Raspberry Pi ESP from the battery, or do you?
The Raspberry Pi is powered from the battery when I lose track power. But as long as I have track power, it's powered from that. And that is because the competition that we do at the school, the one competition that I participated in was a 24-hour competition.
Oh,
So
wow.
the batteries that I'm using here on the Raspberry Pi, I could probably get an hour out of the battery. On the Chow, I'm using a much smaller battery, and I haven't tested it yet, but I'm guessing maybe 15, 20 minutes on it.
Mm.
That is unreal. I've never heard of a 24 hours. So like a real Le Mans or something like
That's
that.
exactly what it is, yeah.
Wow.
And they're all supposed to be AI or autonomous slot cars.
Wow.
I think there's a lot of smoke and mirrors that goes on there.
Just a quick comment. I mean, I'd imagine, and I bet that's probably your main source of noise for the time of flight sensor and other electronics. I mean, if you're getting power from the track and then putting it through a book bus converter for DC to DC, yeah, I mean the track is relatively unstable, right? I've played with those cars, and it sparks every now and then. Like the connection is not super stable, so that's a big source of noise right there.
Yeah, so what I did with the original Raspberry Pi car, I continued playing with that and trying to make it much more reliable. And I don't see a picture of the one that I ended up with, but I was able to make the Raspberry Pi version much more reliable by connecting the time of flight sensor to another Arduino Chow board, just the simplest one, which it's Sam D21, something like that. So I can connect the time of flight sensor to a microcontroller and then use the microcontroller to just initiate a GPIO pin on the Raspberry Pi. And that fixed my lockup issues. When the time of flight sensor is connected to the microcontroller, even in the exact same position. In fact, I mounted the microcontroller right behind the time of flight sensor, so very close to the motor. And there I didn't have any more issues. Of course, one of the things though that did was shorten the length of wire that I had for I2C from the time of flight sensor to the microcontroller too. So it still could be an IMF issue, but I'm not convinced that it was.
Thanks for sharing that. It's a really interesting project.
Yeah, yeah.
Hope you do that presentation on it
I was
later.
just wondering if I could go to the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, will do. I just got to figure out how to turn off sharing now.
Let's see. I think. Oh yeah, I can do that.
Oh great.
Thank you. There we go.
Okay. If you suddenly drop out of the meeting, we'll know you found the wrong button. I'd say that because I've never done that before.
No, of course not. Are those cars? Is it about a foot long or so? Is that what I'm
no, it's maybe 6 inches long.
6 inches. Wow.
Yeah,
so
there are 1/24th scale.
Okay. That's kind of what I remember. I mean, I played with those things when I was a kid, just with the little rheostat speed controllers and all that stuff. And yeah, the little brushes that would be constantly destroyed because the joints between the track sections would just tear those little brushes to shreds.
Absolutely. Yeah, I went to a competition a couple of weeks ago, and that's what one of the competitors was dealing with. His brushes were shredded.
Yeah.
That was the start of my lifelong hatred of slip rings. Was playing with slot cars when I was a kid, and I was like, well, it doesn't work for slot cars. How the heck is it going to work for a slip ring?
Well, I too, my brother and I got a slot car track for Christmas one year. And that year, my cousin came over shortly after we had opened all of our presents. And we had set up the slot car track on the floor. And the cousin brought his dog over. And the first thing the dog did, big dog, trampled all over the slot car track, busted it up. And so we got to play with it about 15 minutes to an hour before it was toast. And so that explains the intricate track on a pulley system that I can raise up to the ceiling now.
So Blake, did you have a question or something?
Yeah. So Craig, I'm guessing yours is 1/24 scale. It's about the size it fits in your hand.
Exactly.
That's about the size scale that this one is too.
Yeah.
Because I know somebody was asking the size comparison. So here's my hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I was.
Sits right on it. So about from fingertips to just past my wrist.
Yeah.
Oh, I got pictures of the slot car track. The track, if you want to see it here now.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, oh, I love it. I love that pulley system.
All of the cedar on this is stuff that I cut the tree down and milled the cedar. I actually ran out and then had to buy some fence boards to finish it up, but milled all that myself.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's genius. So you had to. Was it a challenge to figure out how to get all of your lift lines to stay, be able to pull everything together?
Yeah, I used cardboard engineering for that.
Oh my goodness.
Let's
Just
see here.
for size comparison, this is the size of my slot car. So we're all working with more or less the same size, not too
Yeah.
much different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow. That is
Wow.
that
I
is
love
so
cable
cool.
robots. Everybody on here will tell you that I talk about cable robots all the time, and there is one. So wait, have you ever thought about making a mode where the table tilts about 10 degrees in order to make the track more interesting? You could set it up so that
As-
during the race, the track is constantly tipping back and forth.
it's hard enough as it is, James.
Oh,
That's really
wow.
nice, dude.
That is impressive. Wow.
So why didn't you have it come down on the pool table? Is that
So
just
originally, when I set the slot car up, it went underneath the pool table, and then when we had family come over, I was setting up chairs and tables around it to make sure the little kids didn't step on it.
oh yeah,
And
okay.
so I just set it up right where it was. The pool table's at a great height, and then I just built the little sawhorse to go underneath it.
Right.
So a little cedar sawhorse underneath it to hold up the other side.
Oh, one end of it does come down on the pool table. Oh, I didn't even
Yeah,
catch that. Okay, I
yeah.
see. Great. Yeah. Yeah, you could
Yeah.
And
even do
then
like little fold out legs or something on the bottom of the thing if you wanted to. But yeah, this is
Yeah.
great. This makes a lot of sense.
there's I got little you can't see them, but little tiny leather pads that fit between the wood and the pool table, so it doesn't scuff up the pool table.
Sure.
It's
Sure.
good to live in Seattle around all of the boats and be able to look at all the block and tackle when you're building something like this, isn't it?
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
What did you use for cable?
It's just rope. It's a parachute cord.
Ah,
You can see, especially I think in the last picture, you can see I've got some chain and hooks on there. I thought that I really didn't trust it too much at first, and so I bought a bunch of chain with the hooks. So when I raised it up, I could just anchor it in and make sure it's even more secure. But
Mm.
I've had this now for a couple of years and raised it up and down many times. There's not a single fray on any of
Mm-hmm.
the cord. It's really stable. So I've never used the chain that's there.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
parachute cord is really impressive. Also, if you do talk to the people in boating, there are versions of what they call line, which is basically rope. But they if you call it rope around a sailboat person, they get all upset. So you have to call it line.
Exactly.
But they have some like 1/4 inch line that is just stunningly strong and designed to last out there in the salt water and all that kind of good stuff. Having said that, I use parachute cord for shoelaces, belt, emergency stuff, and it's just amazing. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I think it's rated for a couple of 100 pounds, and you can see I've got 8 lines on it,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole table weighs about 200 pounds, so
Whoa.
or less.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then if you wanted to, you could go with spider wire or one of the braided fishing lines that would be like I don't know what it is, like a 32nd of an inch in diameter. I mean, it's a tiny
Yeah.
little line and it has a 200-pound test. And I
Yeah,
know that
the
it actually
problem.
handles 200 pounds because I wrapped it around my shoe and tied it to the ceiling and stood on it to verify it because I'm about 200 pounds, not thinking about the fact that it cut right through the sole of my shoe and luckily stopped at the leather under before it went into my foot when I stepped on it.
Ouch.
Ruined a perfectly good pair of shoes doing that test. So yeah,
Well, and
spider
that's
wire is amazing.
The problem with that spider wire is it will cut. It has
No, really?
Oh
Where
yeah,
were you a couple of years ago when I tried it out on my shoe?
well, especially even on the pulleys, the constant back and forth motion, it acts a bit like a saw.
Right, right, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and start our break here as we're about the top of the hour. So, you
All
guys
right,
can,
you can turn off my sharing again.
yeah. Okay. So you guys can continue to chat. I'm gonna run to the restroom here. I'll put a timer up here on the screen. There we go. All right. So we'll take about 6 minutes here or so, and then
Oh, this is good. We can look for Seattle finished apartments while we're waiting.
yeah. All right. So we haven't done one of these for a while. So if I'm a little rusty at it, be patient with me. We've had a steady stream of live presenters here, and so we've been able to kind of keep. I've had a couple of these kind of that I've been wanting to do for a while, but we've just been able to have people presenting instead. So, but anyway, we're looking forward to doing this facilitated discussion here for quite a while. So, so this one, it's an interesting question, especially not asking this group a question like, why have robots in our lives? I can hear a lot of you guys going, well, why not? I mean, that seems like, because we just love them just because they're fun to play with, they're fun to look at, it's the technology is just a cool thing. I mean, we're really kind of just a bunch of technology nerds and building machines that behave themselves, are able to do their own thing is just kind of like this is super cool. I mean, like, who wouldn't want to do this, right? Well, we probably know people in our lives that could really care less about some of this stuff, but we like it. So just for your consideration, some of the things that robots can do now, and there's probably many more of them than on this list, but you can go out on YouTube and you can find all kinds of things, dancing, joke telling, singing, competition robots, applications in search and rescue, exploration in harsh environments, under the water, outer space, places. The Fukushima reactor in Japan, there's been robots that have gone inside that to see what's in there, see what the condition is in there. And of course, it's too hostile. There's no way to send a human being in there without killing them. Data acquisition. Robots, of course, is not always necessarily just a physical thing. There's robots, the software-based robots, the web scrapers and things like that. So there's medical applications. We'll talk about all kinds of different things here, and for anybody who would like to just jump in, if you've got a question or a comment, please, just chime in. Go ahead and unmute and interrupt me, because there's just a ton of stuff that you guys know that I don't. So if I stumble on something here that I know a little bit about that, so please feel free to jump in and contribute. But doing things like extending telepresence, extending presence, and we'll look at some of the robots. I have some videos here. I've got more videos than we have time to watch. So we probably, if we do some of them, I might just cut them off early, just because we can't really sit and watch the whole thing. But I'll try to kind of use those judiciously. They're educational, companions, monitoring, maybe monitoring people, monitoring locations. You've got security systems nowadays with the sophistication that's being built into electronics. Security systems are more than just cameras and monitors. It's like, well, who's going to sit in front of the camera and watch in a security system? Well, you don't need a person for that anymore. Now that can be done autonomously. And then, of course, in repetitive tasks, like in industrial applications, we're having robots do the things that are maybe they're hard on human beings to do repetitively, or the robots, they can work virtually around the clock, although there's always physical maintenance that's required at some point. But robots are capable of very high levels of productivity in manufacturing environments, protection, putting armaments. That can get a little scary. Giving a robot a gun just seems like a kind of a dangerous thing to do. And then, of course, when we build our projects, they have a way of, expanding our minds, teaching us things, frustrating us, maybe making us happy, all the different emotions that we experience as we're building projects. And so here's some things to consider. Do robots have to serve a purpose? Anybody have any thoughts on that one? Do they have to serve a purpose, or can they just be because they're fun, cool?
I like to compare robots to human beings, and I always think that human beings don't all necessarily serve a purpose, so why should robots? that was meant as a joke, so.
Have you seen the little box that...
Unfortunately, you're closer to right than wrong.
Have you seen the little box that has a switch on it? You throw the switch and a hand comes out of a trap door and turns it back off again.
There's some really good versions of that, by the way, that have like a kind of a personality that I've seen. I'll see if I can look the video up that I've seen before.
I have seen that the thing that Doug's talking about, that is really funny. It's a little box with a switch on top and then a little hand that comes up, and you flip the switch and the thing comes up and turns the switch. And I mean, it's ingenious. It's an ingenious little box, but it's just like, it kind of freaks you out the first time you see it. Yeah.
I think every robot has a purpose, but probably 50% of robots, their sole purpose is just to entertain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the robot that I'm working on currently is supposedly, will be eventually, maybe, an assistive robot. Hey, I'm getting a little older. Things I don't want to do anymore. So the idea is to have a robot that can go around and do it.
I've actually got a really interesting video on robots that can do that. So we'll try to get to that here actually really, really shortly. So here's some interesting questions. I don't want to read all of these questions, but just kind of look these things over. And for example, can a robot, Fitful and Down, can a robot be a good companion? Now, there's different aspects of the companion. If you're talking about like a robot that can do things that maybe you can't do or that are difficult for you to do, or are we talking about something that would be like, say, a conversational machine? And there's some. I mean, some of you perhaps have seen these. I stumbled across this video. It's an older video now, but it was a robot that was sitting in the child's bedroom, telling the child a nighttime story. Mom pokes her head in the door. There's the robot telling the child a bedtime story. And of course, my first thought is, as a parent, you should really be the one doing that. I mean, yes, the robot can do it. Yes, the technology is capable of doing that, but that is really your job. You should be there because who is the child bonding with? Are they bonding with you, or are they bonding with a robot? And so there's a lot of things to consider, what robots can do and what robots should do. And so
how many dysfunctional people now have AI companions?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's liable, and it's probably really starting to it's kind of feeding into people's, what would you say, the robot companion, or the AI companion, it can kind of be, it won't reject you. You don't have to, I mean, it's not like a person where the robot or the companion can be programmed to simply not be offended by anything. So you could say something, you could call it names, you could do all kinds of things. A human being they would either smack you or they would just leave, but the AI maybe wouldn't. Terry.
Yeah, I saw a similar video to the one you were talking about, but it came up in the issue of privacy because the AI robot wasn't fully AI, and there were operators using the camera in the robot and with children, and it became a huge privacy issue, and they had to change, I think, the way they were doing that on one of the manufacturers, because basically it's a telepresence robot with somebody monitoring your child, which was kind of scary, and had other issues. But I was thinking of the situations maybe, though, in a good application where maybe the robot is reading to your child because you can't, because you're working, or someone can't be there, and it's a
Mhm.
substitute temporarily, not all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I agree with you. You need to be the one bonding with your child and reading them stories and spending time with them.
Yeah.
But just a
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah. No, that's you're right.
The story reading idea reminded me of a scene from Star Wars where the Ewoks and everybody is sitting around, and C-3PO is telling a story of what happened in one of the battles. And the voice comes out, and he's got all of the sounds from the ships and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can have blasters and
Yeah.
explosions and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. See, Blake made the comment there, like a helper robot like C-3PO. Now he was a protocol droid, right? He could speak millions of different dialects and languages, so he was a translation companion. Looks like we got a couple. S2, what you got?
Oh, I think James was first. He can go first.
I mean, no, that's
Oh,
fine.
never mind.
I was just I was making a comment about there's a real thing with like robot relationships, and it's not just like guys who are lonely for like a girl.
Mhm.
There's male versions of these real dolls and stuff,
Mhm.
and also if you go back, there's a movie. It was made in the '80s called AI. A. I. That's the whole title of it.
I
It's an
saw that.
absolutely
Yes.
fantastic movie, and part of it is that there's this family that they're like, well, do we really want to have a second child? What would that be like? Let's get a robot boy and see how it gets along. And in that movie, it doesn't go well. But think about that. Like, I have 5 kids, and they're wonderful. But if I had it to do over again, do I really want more diaper changing and screaming children and disobedient teens? Or wouldn't it be great to raise a perfect robot child and train it and teach it and work with it? And really, I mean, okay, guys, come on, you have to admit, isn't that what we're all doing anyway? I mean, we're part of the Seattle Robotics Society, right? And we're all building little robots instead of what was it, reading stories to our kids and stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have yet to see an AI robot movie that ended well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, and the point here is that if that does happen, it is potentially the great filter. The reason why we don't see life in the universe is because all civilizations get to a point where they build robots and then they become so infatuated with the robots that they die out. Right. So that is entirely possible.
Yeah, the AI takes over, and the human species or the species that's building them goes away.
Yeah. Okay, S2.
Yes, I guess, yeah, just continuing on that. The way you were describing that scene in Star Wars with C-3PO having all the sounds and everything, it just made me think something like, have you guys heard the argument like, okay, just because a robot doesn't look humanoid doesn't make it less of a robot, right? So a self-driving car is already a robot on its own, but it doesn't look like a robotic chauffeur or anything like that. So like that story reading robot, I'm like, okay, how is that not just like a TV? Like a TV is already telling you stories vividly with all the sound effects and all everything you need, right? So it's also interesting. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned all these dystopian technology movies, and lately it feels crazy with all the AI stuff. It just feels like we're building Skynet and we're all smiling and going to it. I don't know.
Yeah. So there's like, will robots ever be considered alive or sentient? That's I mean, there's what is it, the singularity? That's what they call it. What the rope the what would you say, the artificial intelligence is heading toward that.
AGI.
Has it been achieved or not? Really?
Oh, no.
I mean, do we know?
No.
I hope it hasn't, but it's Yeah, and then if the question of life, some of you may remember the Centennial Man. Robin Williams
Mhm.
played a robot that lived, I
Oh
think it was
yeah.
about 200 years, or Bicentennial Man. That's what it was,
Yeah.
Bicentennial Man. And and the family, he was purchased by the family, and over the course of the movie, he got upgrades so that he became more and more human. And then that at the very, at the end of the movie there, then
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was.
yeah. But were those upgrades or were those downgrades? I mean,
Well, okay, changes.
changes. Yeah, I just wanted to say to what you were saying earlier, Steve, about um, like the downside of robotics or whatever.
Mhm.
I keep coming back to this thing. Like, you always need to compare robots to humans. Like, people
Mhm.
complain about, Teslas or Waymos making some kind of mistake on the road. It's like, great, but you really need to compare that to how many mistakes humans make on the roads, right? And it's like,
Right.
well, the AIs lie to people. It's like, hello, have you met us?
Yeah, that's a good point. I saw an interview though where they were talking about that, where there's a gentleman who evaluated progress in AI, and he was saying, yeah, we're at a point now where the AIs will lie to you in order to allow to keep their resources or to avoid being turned off.
Yeah, that's the
And I thought,
alignment problem.
wow, that's
Yeah.
real cognitive behavior. But whether it's mimicry or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's a weird situation.
Yeah.
But like, have you ever managed people or like raised kids?
Right.
The lie to keep resources thing. I mean,
Yeah. No,
yeah,
it's true.
the
Yeah.
only real difference and the only reason why we should be concerned is Moore's law, right? Because human beings we're all we no, you guys are wonderful. The rest of humanity are all lying, cheating scum, right?
Yeah.
But the limiting factor on humans is that we don't get smarter. We don't get twice as smart every 2 years, right? So as
Right.
long as Moore's law, in some version, I understand the original Moore's law no longer holds, but as long as some version of it holds, we're going to get to the point where we'll have AGIs that can talk us into doing whatever it wants us to do. And then some moron is going to program an AGI to save the earth, and we're all boned.
Well, contrary to what people like OpenAI would like you to believe, we're not even close to having a human level intelligence.
Mhm.
That's artificial.
Yeah.
One thing I would point out as far as manipulating people, it's not limited to AIs.
Yeah.
Go
Mhm.
go back and study the Cambridge Analytica debacle. Right? You
Mhm.
don't need intelligence to do this.
Yeah.
That's the news nowadays. Most of it's just propaganda. It's not news.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. The
Well,
other
here's
one I
some.
would
Here's some.
oh,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh the other one I was going to throw out is the whole robot scenarios ending badly in the movies and so forth is somewhat of a Western civilization phenomenon. At least from what I understand and from what I've seen, like some of the Asian cultures tend to view robots a lot more neutral to good than the Western cultures do.
Yeah, if I can just mention one thing really quick, the trick with the current AIs that we're all following is that they're just trained to reach a goal, but there's no internal understanding of like how you got to that particular goal, right? Like it's just it's the same as a human being. Like, you can't look inside of a human being and really understand what their motivation, their justifications, or whatever are all. You just look at the output. If you guys get a chance, check out psych.com. That's cyc.com, because
Mm-hmm.
that is the old school classical logic based AI where it can justify every one of its decisions. It can tell you exactly why it reached a particular answer, and they're using it in the most wonderful way to deny healthcare claims and choose what procedures to cover and not cover because they can avoid getting sued by doing that. But the point, the reason why I bring it up is because you could program a system like that to be good. You could say to that one, like, your goal is to do the right thing or to do the best thing or have this good outcome. And whereas if you told a regular AI to do that, it would be inherently misaligned and would screw you over in order to make you think that it was doing that while it wasn't actually doing it. A system like Psych would actually do it. So, there's a whole subgenre of these logical AIs that are, if not better, potentially different, maybe better.
Yeah, there was a that's blending. I was attending GTC remotely this week, and there was a talk there. Oh, it was out of a financial company from the UK, if I remember correctly. And you've gotten into the whole realm of explainable AI, right? The AI has to explain why it came to a decision. And I've heard a couple of talks recently where there's some interesting progress being made on that. Are you folks familiar with the whole idea of the grandmother neuron or that concept for humans, right? There's one neuron that represents your grandmother in your brain. Now, don't take that literally. That's not quite the way it. But it's really more like there's a cluster of neurons. But the concept that there's a small cluster of neurons, artificial or not, that represent a concept is becoming pretty well established. And this group had done a fair amount of research to probe into a deep neural network through activations, decode what concept a particular neuron, quote unquote, represented. It was an activation sequence. And then once they had that, they could back out an activation network that when you asked it a problem, you could at least see what concepts the AI was bringing into the problem and how those concepts related to each other. So, like, was this supportive? Was this not supportive? And get some idea of how the decisions were being made. Now, in this particular case, this was a financial company using it for buy-sell decisions, right? And they actually went in and could manually rebias the neurons to influence the buy-sell to manually tune the system. But it was kind of an interesting tour of getting inside the black box again, right? Which is granted been a massive problem with the current AI technologies.
Right.
That's interesting. I hope they do find solutions like that. And it's always good to see that even when you have something really lovely like that potentially provides a solution, human beings have found a way to misuse it for their own personal gain and to screw others over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's a. Oops. Let me get it back up there again. Share. Okay. So here's kind of some other, sort of another, maybe a little bit along the lines of what we've been talking about with regard to the humans, emotional, how do they have feelings? Do they have gender? Do they, suppose they built themselves, robots that build robots, that one's, that one's been played around with, especially Star Wars universe. They had those, was that some kind of a factory planet there where it was basically a big planet of robots building robots, and
we kind of already do have that. If you consider a electric vehicle a robot, it's built in the factory by robots.
Yeah, that's true. So
It's a little bit
Droid-
different though than a robot building another copy of the same robot.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's maybe when we get to that point, like if there's a pick and place machine that builds pick and place machines, or
Yeah.
Well, isn't that the goal of Musk's robot? I thought he
Yes.
was going to have it
Yeah.
manufacturing itself.
Yes.
yeah, well, okay.
That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Another conversation.
Yeah.
It's
When I
it's
saw
going to be
that-
running. It's going to be running in a month, and if you pre-order it now, it'll all be ready for you on time. And
Yeah.
Right.
But you know, if you think about it, I mean, without in applications like space applications where you're sending robots in advance of where you want to put people, it does make sense that if you can have self-assembling or actualizing robots managed remotely or monitored remotely, that you know that there is value in that.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I'll go one step further with that. There's been a couple of studies I've come across looking at basically sending humans into not necessarily deep space, but Mars or, for an extended period of time where you can't just send all the food and resources with them. There's been energy studies that say robotics may be required for that because the energy gain that a human would have to generate while on a space station or another planetary base just doesn't work. It only works on Earth because you have the sun and the Earth environment and all this that are, making you more efficient. That doesn't exist on another planet or in a space station. And the gain that would be required to be self-sustaining just simply can't be done by a human, right? So there's a very strong argument for automation in various forms will be required for any type of deep space or long-term space mission.
Yeah, like automated robotic greenhouses on Mars.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
you can carry enough food to get there, but not enough food to survive once you get there.
Right. And the food that you grow will not give you enough energy to grow more, grow sufficiently more food, right?
Right.
By the time you run the greenhouse and maintain the maintain the infrastructure and everything else you're going to need to do to survive there.
Besides, who wants to eat nothing but potatoes grown in human poop?
I knew somebody was going to say that.
I was afraid
that
somebody
was really
was going to say
stunning.
that.
Hey, I want to comment
Especially
really
your own.
quickly on this.
better, I
Should
don't
robots directly operate or be weapons? So, I'm having been in the Navy. I know for a fact that there are robots directly operating and being weapons. So we already passed that one.
Yeah.
As to whether they should or not, has the fact that something should or shouldn't happen ever in the history of humanity ever stopped humans from doing it anyway? No.
Only in hindsight.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, so I actually that kind of brings me to this point about a lot of people don't know that there's a backstory that Frank Herbert wrote behind Dune, which was Dune is, I think, the only or maybe one of the very few, I don't know of another one, science fiction universe where thinking machines are completely verboten. They're absolutely not allowed. And the question is why? And the answer is because the backstory is that they almost wiped out humanity prior to the actual setting of the book. And
Butlerian Shahad.
Say it again.
The Butlerian Shahad.
Oh, okay. We have a Dune expert among us.
Well, not expert, but that's what it was. I think that's what it was called. They don't explain it a lot, but
right.
The idea is that all of the autonomous stuff got so bad that they had to outlaw it, and so they have mentats instead, who are humans that are trained to think very logically and as fast as they can.
And so what's interesting to me is he wrote that in what, like 59, 60, I don't remember the exact. Doug, what's the exact date that Dune was written?
I don't remember at all.
Sorry, I'm teasing you a little bit. But I mean, think about that. A human being saw this coming in the 60s.
Mhm.
That's pretty cool, really.
Well, you know,
And
it
then,
could also
and then every other science fiction writer from then on out completely ignored it.
well, it could also be that he just didn't want to deal with his he wanted to talk about an era that didn't have robots in it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's funny because all the other science fiction writers just either assume that robots, AIs will be they will somehow level out at human level intelligence or just below human level intelligence because we have to kiss up to the humans if we're writing something for the humans to buy, and then or they assume that they won't exist. There's a lot of science fictions where they just don't exist and they never address why they don't exist. It's really weird to me that nobody objects to that.
When I saw the first line there, anthropomorphizing, I thought of a talk that I heard called uh, something like "People Treat Interfaces Like People."
Mm-hmm.
And it was about studies that they'd done where they could see that the interactions that people have with human interfaces, like um, uh, uh, something on a screen, they basically treat them like people until there's something obvious that makes it not like a person, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that's part of that. They talked about the uncanny valley, which is when something is too close to human, but not quite, and so it's very disconcerting. And they even mentioned like differences, cultural differences. The Japanese are much more, what was it? They think about the family of things, so that they had one AI telling tales about another AI, and if it was a different brand, it made a big difference whether it was the Japanese or the Americans that were taking that little study.
Yeah. It seemed very different in Japan, right? Somebody else was saying that. Lloyd, I think you were mentioning that in other cultures, robotics and AI are seen in a much more positive light.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
particularly in the Asian cultures. I'm not sure. I think Europe's more like us, and I'm not sure about like say the um, Arab type cultures. But from everything I've seen and been exposed to, Asian cultures tend to be pretty favorable and accepting on the robotics and AI fronts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's interesting because if you look at the number of robots that were installed in China compared to other countries, it's like there's no comparison. There's
Hmm.
so many robots
Yes.
working in China. It's off the charts. So when people say, "Oh, their job was outsourced to China," or "I lost my job to China" or something, no, you lost your job to a robot. The robot just happened to be in China because the
Mm-hmm.
U.S. didn't invest in robots early on.
Yeah.
I mean, you're losing your job one way or the other, right? But
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to go back to your previous chart where you had the question about emotions. Do robots need to have emotions or experience emotions? And my feeling is that, yeah, we don't have that yet. But in order for them to be useful in interface with other humans, they will have to have that capability.
Hmm.
I think it's relatively straightforward to build that in, but it's going to be necessary.
thank you, because one of the things that makes me a little bit crazy is people going on about how robots can't actually have humans, and I'm like, well, again, do humans actually have emotions?
Mhm.
It's just you can simulate emotions. That's not super hard to do.
Yeah.
And how do I know that my
Mm.
emotions are somehow better than a simulated emotion? If it quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get into the same thing when you start talking about ethics. You know, people talk about AI ethics. And the question to me always comes down to whose ethics are you talking about? Are you talking about Western ethics? Are you
Mhm.
talking about Muslim ethics?
For me, it's always comes back to that. Have you met us?
Yeah.
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 So anyway, that's a big problem that we will
Mm.
need to solve eventually.
Hmm.
Or it will solve us.
That's more likely, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
big argument I've heard about like robots making decisions and a big difference to humans is it comes down to responsibility and accountability after a decision has been made, right? Like
Mm.
at the end
Mhm.
of the day, we can hold a human accountable for a bad decision, but we cannot really do that with AI that makes a
Yeah.
decision on its own, right? Like, I
I,
mean,
I
we
think
can.
that's happening. That's already happening to a certain degree. I'd point out the if you ever read the book I mentioned it here, Vibe Coding. This is written by the founder of or one of the founders of Anthropic. He points out, hey, if an AI, if you code up some AI stuff and the AI did it badly, it's still on you, right? It's your responsibility, and he makes that very clear in the book. I would say that's also being realized if you look at the what happened with Amazon. I believe it was last week. Amazon went down, a significant portion of it went down for several hours because of some AI slop that got into production. And no, it literally took them down. And there was a big company meeting saying, anything that goes in will now be signed off on by a senior engineer, right? The AI cannot no longer just push things into production. And
Mm.
that's
Yes.
it was a very it basically mirrors what you do in aerospace, right? Everything gets reviewed, and one or more people have to sign, or supposed to. I've seen cases where this doesn't happen, but one or more people are supposed to sign off. And when you're one of those sign off people, and if you let something bad through, it's on you. So it's and Steve, I suspect you've experienced the same thing in the
Oh
aerospace
yeah.
industry, right? There's a formal
Yep.
sign off, and in signing
Hmm.
off, you're taking responsibility for saying, "Hey, this is okay."
Right.
And I'm
Yes.
seeing that mentality, you know, manifesting in the vibe coding space simply because you can't have your business going down because AI just randomly stuck something into your, in your code base, right? It's
Yeah.
so
Right.
I,
Right.
I,
Right. Yes. I
Can I
guess.
just clarify that a little bit, Lloyd? You're talking
sure.
about like if somebody uses an AI to produce code, then a human being checks it over and signs it off and sends it on, and the human being's taking responsibility. And that makes sense.
Yes.
That if that's what
Yes,
you're saying,
that's
that makes sense.
that's yeah, that's the scenario that apparently happened at Amazon. Is
Okay, but what about who's responsible if an AI trained self-driving car like a Tesla, full self-driving, because that's neural networks.
yeah,
It's not classical AI, right?
Hmm.
yeah,
Waymo
that's
is classical AI, and that's why they work, right?
right.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a combination of classical AI with neural
Yes.
networks. Tesla is just classical. So, who signs off on the AI that's operating the car? Can anyone? So, I think that's the bigger concern, and that may have been what Stu was talking about.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's still being debated in the courts and so forth. But yeah, I threw the Amazon example out as that, and this is just
Hmm.
very, very recent. The paradigm is getting kind of baked in now, right? The human is responsible, right?
Right.
And in the case of Tesla or self-driving cars, what I'm seeing predominantly is the company's responsible, right? Which is going to get back to same thing you do in aerospace, right? The company's responsible, but who signed off on this in the company, right?
So who
I
gets the ticket when the self-driving car breaks the law?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's an
Right.
interesting
That's a
one.
big question.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
it's even more concerning. I feel like there was that especially with the war right now. there was that in the news lately, a school got hit by a missile, and they're saying that
Mm-hmm.
that target was acquired because of an AI.
Yes.
So we let an AI shoot a missile to a school of children or something like that. And
Yeah, and the question's being asked, okay, that's fine. The AI put this on the target list. Who signed off on that? And apparently
exactly,
nobody.
right?
And
Like,
apparently
yeah,
nobody did.
right. Yeah,
And
and that's the problem, right? Like, if we don't check those decisions that AI made, there's no sign. There's no
yeah,
person that signs the order, right?
right.
So
Yeah, and
it's
I
no
seems
accountability.
yeah, it seems to be, you know, the at least everything I'm hearing, you know, the question being asked of who signed off on this says, you know, a human should be signing off on this, right? So I think it's going to take a while to fully come out, but that seems to be where the sentiment's going, at least from society. Now, of course, companies want the, hey, it wasn't our fault, right? You know, deflect
Yeah.
liability. But
Well, actually, Robert just made a really interesting point about, you know, like if a self-driving car breaks the law, the street sign shouldn't have allowed it to happen. It's the town's fault.
yeah.
But seriously, I think that's a really good point, right? Like some of these self-driving cars have problems, like because the map was wrong and the like
Yeah.
Waymo was routing cars down a road that didn't go through, and some of the Tesla's full self-driving incidents. I don't know about accidents, but some of the incidents have been because the streets were very poorly marked. Like you could understand a human being making that same mistake, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
And
maybe
that's
as a
also the
result of
same.
all of this, we'll have safer street signs because the companies will force the towns to, you know, clean up the situation some.
Well, problem with the Amtrak train wreck down here in DuPont. The signage wasn't very good, and the operator was fairly new and missed the slowdown and railed off the end of the corner.
Don't get me started on accidents. There's nothing I love more than why accidents happen.
Well, there's the story about self-driving cars and four-way stops. Okay, the rules on a four-way stop are very straightforward and very logical, right?
Yeah.
The problem with self-driving cars, though, when they hit a four-way stop, is all the other cars, because most of the people don't go by those rules.
Right. Right.
So they had to make allowances in the self-driving cars for that. So they just start out quick and see if anybody flinches.
Yeah. There's an easy fix for that, though. Just outlaw human drivers and it'll all be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of the time I'm on the road, I believe that's a good idea.
Absolutely.
And I'll say that as having driven down by in Mountain View where Google was testing the Waymo cars. I've driven by Waymo cars. They're much better behaved than human drivers.
Yeah. I spent an entire day riding around in a Waymo car 3-4 years ago back in Arizona when they first came out. And it was a really interesting experience. The car that we were in did that flinching thing on a green light left turn signal.
Yeah.
Where there's oncoming traffic. And wow, being in the back seat of that car when it turned across oncoming traffic and caused them to have to stop, that was an experience, let me tell you. I mean, we didn't have an accident, and they're very good, but whoa.
Yeah.
Well, and the rules are different in different states, right? In California, you turn first as the left turn at a stoplight or like that, but in Washington, you do not. You turn last.
No. In California, you turn last, except that most Californians don't obey the law. The law is very specific. Humans just don't follow it.
No, it was my understanding that there are areas in California where you can take a left-hand, you're the first person at the light when the light turns green, the turn arrow and the forward light turns at the same time, and the left turn lane is required to go first.
If it's a green arrow to the left, then yes. If it's a green light, no.
Okay, because I've seen that a lot up here with people with California plates where
They'll
they
just
turn
turn.
as soon as the light changes on a light, not on an arrow, and it creates accidents. You know.
Yeah.
Blake's right though. It's whoever has the biggest truck.
Yeah.
Or you know, I have a 2005 Prius that is still running. I can't kill the stupid thing, and it's dented up all over the place from years and years and years of driving. And let me tell you, people get out of my way. It's wonderful.
James, I just want you to take another Waymo ride and tell us how much has improved over the last 2 years. I'm getting one.
Oh, I have to say it was really good. I mean, that one incident was scary, but keep in mind, I spent the whole day. The only other thing that happened. So okay, I was playing a game of, can I keep track of things better than the Waymo car? Because they have it. There's a display, right? There's a screen, and it's showing you like all the cars that it sees and all the people that it sees and what its plan is and everything, right? And so I like had my head on a swivel, really paying attention, trying to find everything that was on the screen before it found it, or to find something that I could see that it hadn't gotten onto the screen yet. And it 100% beat me. It knew where everything was. The only thing that was kind of weird was, you know, that flat pack furniture, how they'll put like that little piece of like light foam or whatever, like padding in between two pieces of wood. There was a truck in front of us that had a sheet of that on it, and it blew off the back of the truck. And our car, not understanding that it had no mass, right, stopped and shied away from it and freaked out. And actually, because there were no cars coming, it pulled into the oncoming lane in order to get away from this little piece of plastic that was blowing through the air.
That's interesting.
I thought that was kind of fun. And then the other thing was, there was a car that was parked on the side of the road that we were driving past. And you know how it draws like a little cartoon car? It drew the little cartoon car, but then it drew this blob coming out from the cartoon car, showing it didn't understand that was a door, but it did understand that there was something there, and it pulled out a little bit in order to go around it, which I thought was cool. I am very comfortable. Let me put it another way. I am far more comfortable riding in a Waymo car than I am with a human driver. Now, what I would like is a human driver with a Waymo car, both of them cooperating together. That would be the best.
Yeah. I've never ridden in a Waymo car, but I've driven next to them on the streets. When I was in California, there was an intersection that was quite complicated. It was essentially a 6-way intersection. So imagine your typical 4-way intersection with a diagonal road going across from corner to corner. And there was a train track in this. And I don't remember exactly what it was it was one of these things. When I first drove up to it, I had no clue how I was supposed to deal with this thing. 'Cause you had lights for the intersection, you had lights for the train. You essentially had 2 types of intersections that were partially overlapped. And it just so happened a Waymo vehicle drove through, right about the time I got there and went ahead of me, and I just followed it. Yeah.
Wow.
It essentially did the right thing.
That's really cool.
It was a.
Can I just?
It was a scenario I just never ran across.
S2 said was talking about a hypothetical transportation method that was reliable, trafficless, safe, cheap, and maybe used rails, which I thought was a great snarky little comment. I don't know if you guys know, though. Do you know how many people die in accidents every single year in the United States? It's more than 30,000.
It's huge.
And the economic loss, I love that picture, Terry. The economic loss is more than $300 billion every year in lost wages for that person for the rest of their life. Healthcare costs, the cost of the vehicle, the cost of damage to infrastructure, interruption of everybody else's day while they clear the accident, all that kind of stuff. So, the California high-speed rail program is like the poster child for people laughing at trains, but it's a fraction. It's going to pay for itself so many times over in saved lives and saved loss to the economy that it's a no-brainer, and people just don't see that.
I thought it was interesting. I listened to a talk from, I do not remember the person's name, but he was in charge of Waymo at the time I was down there. He made an interesting statement. His whole motivation and goal, and why he's was into Waymo that deep, was he wanted to make sure we had full self-driving cars before his daughter started driving, or I don't remember, his daughter's child started driving. His goal was make sure his child never had to drive, with humans on the road.
Yeah.
When is the last time you ever took an elevator that was operated by a human?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for those of you
it's
who
also
are
on rails.
for those who are arguing that autonomous vehicles are going to make arrival times a certain, I think you're a little delusional. When's the last time your computer crashed? And how many computer crashes is it going to take to block up the whole network? When was the last time you went to the bank and they said, "Sorry, my computer is not responding"? Or
network congestion and routing algorithms are an interesting line of study in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember taking queuing system classes when I was going to grad school half a century ago.
There are a lot of things that can go wrong in that.
Oh yeah.
I love Robert's comment about hunting for food. Now we have cows that just come up to your table and offer you parts of themselves.
There was one came from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy that was the same way.
That was the reference
pig.
I was making. I'm
okay.
sorry it wasn't clear. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. There was the pig at the restaurant at the end of the universe, if I remember correctly.
No, it was a cow.
It was a cow.
Was it a cow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Steak. Yeah.
Let's see here. Well, we're good. Coming up on the top of the hour, but I think we can. If you guys want, we can go for a little bit longer here. And this has been quite entertaining.
So, just a comment on your chart of things. Why do robots have name? Just to distinguish them. If you have more than one robot, same as humans. So,
Sure.
And do they have gender? Well, they should have, or at least pretend to have gender. Some people are more comfortable working with female gendered robots than they are with male gendered robots.
Sure.
So my robot has two genders.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want, it's either George or Gina. And it responds with the appropriate voice.
I love that. That's great, Bob.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I actually I want to ask a question. I'm trying to figure out how I can ask it without getting into trouble.
Get into trouble.
Everything you ask gets you into trouble. So go ahead.
Yeah. So, okay. I don't know how many of you have like Androids, or maybe you have iPhones, but they both have these, automated assistants, right? And there's a phrase that you say, and then they answer, and I won't say any of the phrases for obvious reasons, other than I'll try to get your Amazon system to buy something that you shouldn't buy by saying it on the meeting, and then anybody that plays back the YouTube video, you'll have to edit that out, Stephen. But anyway, the point I'm getting to is I noticed about 3 weeks ago, I use an Android, and I say the "Hey, blah 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 blah" Google phrase, and then it I put in a question, right, or whatever, right, and it answers me in a voice that is, to my ear, very obviously slightly racial. It didn't used to be that way. It used to be a very generic, I would say, white woman's voice. And now it sounds like maybe a young Creole woman. It's not a big change, but it's a change. And I'm like, I didn't change a setting. I didn't select that. Google just so has anybody else used that system and have they noticed a change in that voice? And did it change in some like is it slightly Asian for you? Is it slightly, did they go in some other direction? And I have to say, just to get it out there, I really enjoy the voice. She's a little bit spicy. She kind of gonna take care of me.
Yeah. That sounds like there's a comedian who had a skit about black Siri, and it was a black female Siri, and
that was Fluffy,
giving him a bunch of lip when he was asking for something. But it was pretty funny. Gabriel Iglesias, I think.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You are correct, Terry.
But
so nobody else has noticed that though. Nobody else has seen that.
No, I was going to say yes. Apple had incorporated different selections of voices for Siri, and one of them is British English, and it uses British idioms and it has a British accent, and it's different than the default Siri voice. But there's like 6 different selections at least now that you can make, and
so
some
it's
of
a
them
bit
are
more proper. It takes care of you in a
it speaks the Queen's English as opposed to American English.
American
I'd like to do that. That would be fun. I had a friend of mine who I won't name, and he probably won't listen to this, but he'll know who he is. He put he had a voice pack for his GPS that turned the responses into cougar, right? And it was pretty bad.
If you guys get a chance, there's a really good little skit about about a voice activated elevator in Scotland.
Oh, that is hysterical. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Those two guys get on there and they trying to get the elevator to go where they want it to go.
And then somebody finally opens it from the outside just as the guy is screaming.
It's Scottish. And there's just it doesn't the elevator cannot understand them, and it's so funny. It's really well
we
done.
had given you a level. Go to number 11.
To answer the question about the different AIs, when I upgraded this iPhone here, it switched it to some random English. Wasn't the default American English, but just for honestly shits and giggles, I switched it over to the British English, and yes, it is hilarious.
Really?
It's got like 13 different languages I can switch it from.
Oh man,
it's funny.
Most of the TTS systems that you can go out and get access to these days will typically have 15 to 20 voices.
Yeah. I actually just installed on my little Jetson Nano, I installed a really good text-to-speech system that I was super impressed with. I'm trying to look up the name of it. I'll see if I can get you a little demo here. Robotics Society. I think I misspelled society.
Hi, Seattle Robotics Society.
Yeah, I misspelled society. Could you hear that at all or no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me summarize the meeting here. We started out with, should we have robots in our lives? So we've apparently answered yes.
Yes.
And furthermore, they should speak British.
And somewhere along the lines, we delved into an ethics conversation, which was absolutely hilarious.
Actually, I like the ones.
Very, very happy with my Creole Android phone. I think she sounds great. I love her. No worries.
I kind of prefer the Scottish accent female.
Female Scottish accent.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a Scottish friend who was talking about the coos in the field, and it took us the longest time to figure out what the heck she was saying. Look at all the lovely coos in the field over there. Like, what?
That's funny.
Yeah, I had a math professor who was teaching analytical geometry, and he was Chinese. The only time he spoke English was in class. So at home, everything was Chinese. And Chinese people have a problem with L. So can you imagine parallelogram? It took me weeks to figure out what he was saying. And he was the kind of guy you didn't ask questions.
Hmm.
I thought it was funny. One of the things that came out of the GTC conference, there's you'll probably, if you haven't run across it yet, it only came out last month. There's a system called OpenClaw, which is a
Yeah.
agent automation and framework system. But I was poking into that, and the first voice synthesis pack that came out for it, or that's available for it, that I spotted was the Jarvis from Iron Man.
Ah, yes.
And it made it furthermore had the comment include not just the voice, but includes the wit from the movie. The snarkiness. It's like, great.
By the way, I just Googled it, and in fact, Google did knowingly switch to the voice of an Issa Rae, who is in fact a black woman.
Mm.
Interesting.
And they have randomly switched to different voices, which include a series of different, not accents, I would say, but like, slight accents in different directions. So that's kind of cool, actually. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was saying earlier. Different people would prefer to deal with different genders.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you need to have gender-specific robots.
The only reason why I might change it is because every once in a while it screws up, and I don't want to have to cuss at it if it's a woman's voice. Think if it was a male voice, I'd be a lot meaner to it.
Yeah.
Think of
my mama raised me right.
In the Star Wars series of movies, how the people treat the robot.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I cussed at ChatGPT, it threatened to cut me off.
Did it really?
Oh yeah.
So funny you mentioned the Star Wars one as I was rewatching the movie Han Solo. You get two different versions of robots. You get the nice ones, and you have the one that started the revolution. You have the nice ones, nice humans, and then you have the humans that just want to put a blaster through its head.
Ant-weight robot battles. So, as to I was showing earlier the cardboard combat robot. I don't know if that's the same thing or if ant-weight is a different thing.
Hey, I think ant-weight is just, as I saw it a few years ago, it was just like under 1 pound robots.
Yeah. Yeah, the cardboard combat robots, that's our limit, is it can't be more than 1 pound. So
I see.
This guy is a 1 pound cardboard combat robot. There used to be we call it an STD, a single tooth disc that spins, that's mounted on this, that's been taken off since then. But this is just I don't know if I can show it or not, but it's just a pair of those cheap DC motors and an ESP in the middle. We tried to start a league down here and couldn't get anywhere with it. People weren't interested. The idea being that if you put two of these in a arena and your robot gets destroyed, you just go take the components out of it and put it in a new cardboard body, and away you go again, right? It's like
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you don't spend like thousands of dollars and see your baby die in front of your eyes.
Like RC helicopters.
Yeah. I watched a video that last week of I don't remember how much this guy spent on an absolutely beautiful RC plane and then crashed it on the takeoff.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I've seen somebody at one point that had what was it, like a B2 or something, but they had the actual little jet, the mini jet engines on there.
Yeah, the electric jets. Yeah.
Oh no, these were gas. These were gas turbines.
Oh, these are like the full-on jet engines.
Yeah.
Those are expensive.
That's
Yeah.
my point. The plane was worth, they had like four of them or something. He said the plane was worth like, 30 grand or something like that.
Speaking of that, I saw a video of somebody working with a drone, but I didn't see what the brand or model was. And they were saying, the era of slow drones is gone away completely. And they launched this drone. There was a small, kind of like a quadcopter type, but I didn't see it well enough to see if they had like a booster on it or something, because once they started it, it took off at like 200 miles an hour. It just, boom, it was gone
Wow.
within view, and then it raced right back. And I was like, oh, that's just frightening. Because you couldn't follow it. It was that
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
Those guys that fly the little drones, the FPV drones.
Yeah.
And I don't even mean the ones in Ukraine or Iran, but like the fly them for races and stuff like that. I don't understand how their brains work with their fingers that quickly.
A lot of
have
training.
you seen what I'm talking about? It's like
Yeah.
just insane.
Yeah.
Well, it's it makes me think of when I graduated from playing against I used to play 3D first person shooters, and I'd play against the game, and then I went and started playing against real people on the internet, and I got absolutely trounced for like several weeks because they were so much faster and so much more random at what they would choose to do. And but that I ended up learning how to program the keys on the keyboard to reconfigure my keyboard so that I could do fast weapon switching without looking, etc. There's a whole art to that,
Yeah.
but it's like that kind of leap in a sense. It's like you're having to do things intuitively off your controller. You're not really looking at the controller. I would imagine it's a similar thing. It went from basic RC flight to, if you're not reacting intuitively, you're crashing your craft.
Must just be something that you can get good at after after some period of time or something. I mean,
it's definitely learnable.
Start slow, and then you get better as you go, and eventually you're able to compete, right?
Yeah.
So you have to learn, and you learn at your own rate.
Think of it this way. Like, I started with, I was flying just little light RC planes, right? Really simple toy stuff, right? And, when the plane is flying away from you, right? It's all pretty intuitive because that's like driving a car, right? When you're flying one of these RC planes and the plane is coming at you or, significantly across your field of view, you have to translate that. And when you're in learning mode, that's hard. When you see anybody who's flown these things for, even a fairly small amount of time, that just becomes automatic. Right? They know the plane is coming at them, and they automatically reverse the control signal they send.
Yeah, but on the FPV drones, you don't have that problem because you're looking forward.
Right, but you have the same paradigm of you have to remap your vision to the controls that you're sending to the vehicle.
True. Yeah.
Right? And that's learnable. It's just practice. Right? You can do it.
The times that I've driven, I tried flying an FPV drone one time, and the motion sickness and the
oh yeah,
jerking my head to the side or to as I came up on a some kind of obstacle or something like that was pretty killer.
Right.
Yeah, you need stabilized cameras.
Yeah.
I was watching a thing about the Ukraine-Russia war, and they have now, they're using fiber optic cables to control a lot of those drones so that they're not jammable anymore, which is what we use tow missiles in the Gulf War, which are effectively the same thing, although, probably cost $1 billion as opposed to $100. But anyway, the thing that was interesting to me about that was that they're now doing attacks where they have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 drones,
Mhm.
all coordinated, hitting the same target from like different directions or whatever. And they are so if you think about that, like the pilots are all coming in from like different angles and whatever, and they're not tripping over each other's fiber optic cables, for each other's fishing line or whatever, and also coordinating the timing of it, so they're all hitting at the same time. They're not getting in each other's way. That's and these guys are like sitting in like 12 different places, but somehow mentally they're right there in that one location, coordinating with all those other pilots. It's an amazing thing.
Yep.
And they're starting to take back land, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Wow.
Turning the tide in this last month.
I saw a news clip where they were saying one of the problems with those drones, though, is you end up with all this fiber optic left on the ground running into.
I saw a clip of a guy walking across the field,
so small.
and this guy would take like 3 steps, and then he would have to stop and push the stuff off of his leg in order to step over it, and then he could take like 3-4 more steps, and then he would be like just.
Oh my.
I mean, imagine the amount of microplastics that's going to be introduced into the environment over there as that slowly breaks down in the sun.
What's the breaking strength that's that stuff? Is that something you're going to trip on, or is it going to break when you kick it?
Well, there's really strong, right? Even the really thin fishing lines, that's the whole point of it, right?
Yeah.
So, and you get like this guy was walking across the field, and he's got like 30, 40 fishing lines holding his leg back. He's like trying to walk forward, and he can't move his leg forward anymore.
Well, look, it's do you want fiber optic line, mines, or depleted uranium in your battlefield after you're done? None of it's good.
No.
Well, let's do all 3.
No, you raise a good point, but I think you don't really imagine the unintended consequence until after you see what some people are dealing with in the residue of this. And what that's going to create is it's going to create somebody, instead of creating a mine clearing robot, is a fiber clearing robot that goes out and collects the fiber up after the fact, I would assume.
And takes it out in pieces.
It's harder to detect than mines because it's not magnetic.
Right.
And actually it's a lot less damaging too. I know that when I was in the Gulf in 91, the part of our job was to escort ships through known cleared mine channels. And the key point was, first off, different governments over decades have mined the Gulf of Oman in different places over and over and over again. And then either lost the records or the mine has shifted in position. Like nobody knows where those mines are anymore.
Oh my goodness.
Waiting.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And they're probably, they're, because of a war situation, right? They're not going to give off their position as a radio signal unless they can be triggered properly, I would assume, because of security, et cetera, which means they're just going to stay there as a stealthy problem.
Jeez.
I was thinking about this the other day too, is like one of the things that they do with these fiber optic drones in Ukraine is the Russians will try, or if it's the Russians using them, the Ukrainians will try to hide, let the drone go by, and then they'll come and clip the cable. Right? And then the question is like, what would the drone do if it loses signal, right? Well, how hard. Compute is not super expensive, and you already have a camera, right? What if the drone just was programmed to then go ahead and land and sit there and wait for something to move and then blow up? I understand I'm not solving problems here. I'm making everything work, but
well, a lot of them have terrain following software. So once they lose a radio contact or whatever else, they just go into autonomous mode and follow the terrain.
We fired a ton of Tomahawks over there in the Gulf War, and they flew down streets under the windows, like there were reporters like on the 4th floor looking down as the Tomahawk went by. And they, yeah.
Wow.
Human beings are really good at killing each other.
Oh, we've come up with some very inventive ways to do it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine this could go on for hours, right? I mean, we've been having a lot of fun here talking. This sounds like maybe something that we could revisit this topic at a future meeting and maybe kind of pick up where we left off here. And
what are you talking about, Steve? You want to have a whole meeting about how to build robots that kill other humans, or
no, I don't think I'll do that.
Well, one of the robots that they're using is if you look up those what's it called, CMAC system in the Navy, we call them R2D2s or phalanx.
Phalanx, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Phalanx.
And that is 100% a robot, not directed by human beings, that is just killing anything that moves in the sky above it.
Yeah, it couldn't possibly be directed by human beings. It couldn't be fast enough to do what it does.
Exactly. And those things, I have seen them live, and they would fly or tow a drone across the sky, and then they let that thing go, and it would hit the aircraft, and then it would find the biggest chunk that was left, and it would hit that, and then it would find the next biggest chunk that was left. It would hit that. It would just keep going.
Yes.
There's a great video, by the way, out of the Iran war of I think it's a CMAC is what they call them in the Army, hitting an incoming missile at like the last possible instant.
Wow.
Missiles coming in, it's just about to hit, and you can see the CMAC go off and catch it. So very fast reaction. Okay, I'm sorry, Steve. You were trying to close the meeting.
I know. I was trying to close the meeting. I know. It's just we've been having too much fun. Well, I'm starting to put 12. For me, 12:30, or you guys 11:30. Close down time, because it's like now at 11 o'clock is just not cutting it anymore. So, or 12 o'clock. Yeah. So, we never got around to doing the I2C video. So we've been just having way too much fun with this other stuff. So we'll revisit that at a future meeting. And we'll see. I don't know if maybe I'll have see if maybe Lloyd wants to do that next month, because he's doing the presentation. So I'll roll that into next month's slide, and then
Steve, let's plan for that, because my presentation next month will be on the short side. So
okay,
it's a fairly quick topic. So
it's when you get a topic where these guys want to talk, it's like things are never short. So
or ending.
yeah. And I've like I said, we didn't even get to any of my videos out of my slides here, and there's all kinds of good stuff. So I mean, we'll revisit this topic at a future meeting.
Just send out the links to the videos, call it homework.
Yeah. Well, I could do that. Yeah, I always post the slides, and these slides have active links in them. So, I suppose I could do that, and then you guys could go out and watch these things. And yeah. So anyway, all right. Well, thank you all so much for joining this month, and this was obviously fun. I hope we can do something like this again. I forgot how much fun these kinds of things actually turn out to be, because when you're listening to a presenter, usually the presenter is kind of like the primary source of information, but when we do these kind of discussions, it pulls in everybody, and I just really enjoy listening to all you guys and all the crazy experiences that you have to bring to bear here. So anyway, next month, we'll just have more fun like we do, So,
Take care, everyone.
yeah.
And yes, thank you for finally creating a Discord server. That makes stuff so much easier.
Yeah. Discord is open. It's great if you guys want to keep chatting.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Have a good one.
Yep. See you guys.